looking to kind of get a consensus on tonight is whether or not we will do the property, keep the property tax rollback in effect. It's an even number year, we can go ahead and change it. Otherwise, we wait until 2026 will be our next chance. So that's really all I have to say.
That decision will formally be made in
August when we set the thing, but to budget, with your intention, I could go ahead and budget for it.
some direction tonight on which way you might want to go come August would be helpful. Those numbers will, well, you're not in here now, but they would be an increase if you decided to take back some or all of the rollback.
You have 4 different categories listed.
It was just, you can do any kind of rollback in the body. We've done the 15 cents for a few years, I guess since 2011 or 12, I forget. But you could change it to a 10%, a 5%, or no. That's why I present it that way.
And that affects which fund?
General fund, because it's the real and personal property tax. So
Okay. So in your summary, you show 575,000 deficit. What was included in that?
Just the regular expenses and a one-step raise for everybody.
The Prop M funds are included?
Prop M funds are in there.
What funds were included for the proposed city administrator?
Oh, it's like 111,000. You mean his salary?
It was from general revenue.
Is that what you mean from, yeah, it's in general revenue. But that's part of what I put in, his salary and benefits.
That wouldn't include the negotiable side of that.
A little bit, but no, I didn't bounce any of that up too high because I was kind of.
Yeah, we don't know where, we're working on the projected number that Linda came up with last year, essentially. We don't know for sure where we're going to be at.
No, I understand. We have to budget for something.
Exactly.
But what that shows is $575,000 short. And somehow we've managed to do that year after year, which is not sustainable at all. This is a tough project. Not simple. Wants and needs are different. You're talking about a property tax rollback change. The citizens expect us to spend money accordingly like they do at home. It doesn't look like we're doing that.
I think we need to decide, the department heads need to decide what they have to follow their sword for and what they can let go. It's tough to do, but I don't see how we can start with a deficit.
So, yeah, right now that's projected as fixed operating costs. There's about $239,400 worth of additional cost requests in the budget. So, the projected number right now, if you don't take any of the requests out, is about $814,000.
Deficit.
Yeah. So you'd have to look at the request, I think, first. Cutting those fixed costs, I don't know how you would. You're not going to, I don't know how you get below the 575, but you need to look at the additional, the request on here. If you look at the bottom summary, general funds 239,425, and each item is marked where it would come from. So those are really decisions that need to be made between you all, how you're going to handle the request that will be in addition to we have this fixed operating cost.
But the 575 in general fund deficit is a result of years' process of increasing expenses over revenue, correct?
Yes, that's our fixed operating cost, yeah. And like I say, so step one would be to make decisions about additional. If you don't want to pass any of the additional requests, then you make that decision and go through it piece by piece. Beyond that, getting it below 575, 45, I don't know how if you want to address that at all.
My point is that this is prior year decisions that have ended this up today at 575 short.
Yes.
I will throw out on the second line on the yellow sheet, the general fund reserve. that money is, there's 155,000 of that available. If we want to move any expenses into that, I'd really like to get that amount knocked down and out. It's been kind of hanging on for several years, and I put it aside as more of a kind of housekeeping thing. It started out way back when we sold the building, and then we got rid of that, and then when we brought in we had the CARES money, and I kind of threw it in there, and
So that could just go into the general?
it basically is general fund.
Right,
It's
so
just,
it should-
it's just for housekeeping purposes, I separated it.
So then you could take that and put that to that 239, I guess, and then we got a
Okay.
difference there.
Don't we need some kind of management reserve for the, oh my gosh.
Oh, we do, and we have a policy for that. So it's, what is it, 50% of 1 year's operating cost after debt service.
Okay,
And we keep pretty healthily above that.
that still doesn't.
And that applies to the general fund.
That still doesn't.
The siren upgrade, how important is that?
As far as the siren upgrade, that is basically is what it says. It's upgraded the electronics and the sirens that we've got. Over the past several years, we've upgraded one siren every year. And we're on track to get those all upgraded. We've got 2 or 3 left to go. Previous years, they were about 10 grand, but the cost of everything went up. I put it up to 14.
Well, I'll let you know right now, we're actually taking out the Lexi Bowl, which is it's 23,623 the first year, and it's like 1,250 the remainder year, we're taking that out.
You're gonna remove that?
Yes.
Okay, so item 1 on the request form has been scratched.
So, Linda, I want to get back to so would this make it easier for the city if we just move that 155 of the fund? Just basically scratching that item line 02? And just-
I could transfer it, or we could just put some expenses toward it, so someone ever does it.
Right, either or, but yeah.
I might caution you, if you put it in general revenue and pull down your deficit, this is a one-time influx of cash against an ongoing deficit. So
Right.
it might be wiser to take those dollars and assign them to one-time purchases.
Okay, yeah.
That way you're not misleading where you're at as far as the
Right.
shortfall.
So the 155 one-time purchase?
Yeah, it's a revenue stream. It's not, it was a one-time influx of cash that's sitting there. So yes, if you
So we could take it against it.
And then what they do is that's on the
If you
right.
wanted to pick out one or a group of things that equal that amount, that would be one way
Scratch that.
to disperse those dollars.
Oh, this is yeah, total.
Item 2, is that replacing something or is that totally new?
Item 2, that would be replacing something. So I'd be selling the used pickup.
Okay, do you know what the residual value of that used pickup is?
Probably between $2,000 and $4,000.
Is that going to come back to the general fund or the water sewer fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it wouldn't go back to the general fund.
No.
Water sewer.
Water, yes, sorry. I didn't
Sorry.
very well.
My mistake, but I knew what
Yeah. You should try to put it back where it came from.
So the net would be something less than 55.
Yeah, probably 50.
But like I said, that's streets, water, and sewer. So
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just asking.
Sure.
We could probably survive without the AC machine. That'd be $5,640.
Okay.
What number is that?
That is
18, thank you.
Do we have one that's still functional?
We do not have one.
It's an EPA requirement.
It
It's
is.
going to be dinged.
Well, we don't get inspected, but we were just trying to be good stewards of try to follow the rules.
Well, you've got funds, well, that's general fund, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
It's general fund.
Well, we don't want you to get in trouble with EPA.
And just a reminder, I put things where they would traditionally come from, but some things can't be moved to another fund. I think we did that last year with, I mean, that could actually probably, there could be a case made for dividing that between street, water, sewer, and police. Maybe just quarter general fund, so because it's used on property.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
It's used on the entire fleet. Yeah.
If you want to move the designation from general funds, that's not a problem.
Why don't we
25% goes to general fund, right? Is that
I
what
mean,
you said?
I just said that because.
They don't have to?
They'd be working on
Could be
police cars.
33%.
Yeah,
Okay.
Would that be the same for number 17 then also?
it could be, definitely.
Another tool, same fund.
And both of those items would qualify as one-time expenditure.
So we
You
use
want to direct that to the carry company?
Well, we don't like to call it that.
I'm sorry.
That's over and done with. My auditor.
Nobody cares
Don't call
anymore.
it.
Now nobody cares.
But we could dump it in that fund.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So what about, could we, again, I'm just trying, so this 155,000, can we put that towards like these vehicles? Or
Sure.
at least, like at least, how about the compact US SUVs?
The
Because they
numbers.
come out of the general fund.
Well, I could add something to that. We're asking for 2 vehicles for the Bureau. We have 5 Chargers that we're going to sell. Now it's going to be 4. We had one that just went down, and it was $6,000 to fix it. It's got too many miles on it to be fixed. So we're going to sell at least 4 of them, maybe 5. We can use some of that money, hopefully, to go towards purchasing one of those vehicles. That's what we're trying to do. Because the Bureau, they need cars. They got a couple of detective cars up there, they got like $100-something thousand on it, and they're rough. It's
Well-
hard to keep going.
Wouldn't it, I mean, so, but we could still use the money to purchase it, and then when they sell it, that goes back into the general fund. So you're gonna, so you can get the vehicles for
I don't
sure,
know how much we can give, but
and whatever you sell it for goes back into the general fund.
And number
Yeah,
still,
that's a future event, so you got to kind of.
number 2 still goes
Right,
away that way
exactly.
though. Number 2 still goes away that way. Correct, Steve, is what you're saying.
Do what?
If we take it from number 2, then when they sell those 4, it goes back into number 1.
Right,
Number
yeah.
2 fund.
But, yeah.
Okay, so we
Yes,
wanna
yes,
take-
yeah, take, okay, I'm.
We want to take the
I'm looking at you on
number,
this one.
sorry,
No, you're
we
fine.
want to take the number 3 purchase from the number 2 fund.
Correct. To
Okay.
purchase those 2 cars, and then whatever the police department gets for those 4 vehicles.
We'll go into the number
back-
1 fund.
Right, correct. No, yeah.
So-
That was my first.
Your discussion, you guys got to, I mean, if you can't reach an agreement, then we'll take these propositions, these proposed changes, and put them on the agenda for a public vote. So if you want to push back against something, now's the time to do it. If there's something else you would like to propose, then
Okay, so.
So then your number 11, Jeff Burkham, sorry,
2 post slip.
is that one that could be split between the 25% also to come out of different funds versus just the general fund?
Well, yeah, but they're like those other tools, we use them.
Where they get
entire
used
fleet.
between the 2?
Yeah. The whole fleet.
Where do you use them?
Try to stop hitting the general fund.
Right.
That's
It just depends on who probably goes down.
Yeah, I don't know who uses it the most. It's hard to say.
But if you split it between 4 departments,
Yeah.
your 25% only comes out of the
Well,
general fund then.
it'd be 3 departments. Keep the general fund, which is the police department. out.
Correct, sorry.
Correct. So we keep the general fund more.
Well, you still have to take
Funded.
25% from it, so it's fair. That's what we did last year.
I'm trying to keep with.
I know. But that is what we did last year, to justify it.
I always said, I want to be able, I want it to make sense to.
If somebody comes
You
in.
use the word defend it to the auditor and anybody
Yeah.
else looking at it, you know. You don't want to
Whatever,
shuffle
yeah.
things
No, that's,
and make it look like you're trying to play some sort of 3-part Bonnie. You could, a
Which
case
would-
could be made for that because it's used for street trucks, water trucks, sewer trucks, and police trucks.
Yeah.
It's not going to be used for police cars, obviously you wouldn't have to.
Okay, yes.
And that's really for Jeff to judge.
I mean, it's gonna be, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? If we split it between?
Yeah, I'm good, whatever works. Today was mainly police cars on the Dodge Charger. Today was mainly a police car on the little. They rebuilt the whole front end of the car.
Just to kind of clean it up a little bit, maybe we just go right down the list, make each decision, we're kind of jumping around
Okay,
here.
that sounds good.
So, number 2, did you make any definitive decision on that? 4x4 pickup. Well, that was streets, water, and sewer. Did you decide you want to do anything different with that, or leave this where it is?
There's no trade in that, correct?
You said what?
Well, there'll be a
Sell
couple
their
of
used truck.
But like I say, it won't affect general, but it was mentioned, I just want to be clear, does anybody
Right, this is strictly sewer.
have an
It's
issue
strictly
with
sewer.
leaving it in? Or just, you want to
No,
take it
leave it
out, change it?
No.
All right.
Number 2's okay?
Number 2 is okay. Number 3,
That's where we're gonna use number 2 fund to pay for that.
Reserve.
okay, so we'll assign those dollars to general
That
fund
can't,
reserve.
can't, yeah, eventually that'll go back in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what.
So,
You got that, Lindsay?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, mid-size 4x4 pickup, that comes from Waters, anybody got an issue with that? Okay, we're gonna leave number 4 as is. Number 5, 43,362, general fund.
Well, we need to decide how to make that work, do we not?
Yeah, that was, well, Jeff told me that he was looking, I mean, there's 4 options for
I can
that, so I'll turn that over to
I can
him.
probably explain a little bit too.
Please.
Option 3 is actually 30 body cameras. We have 30, we have enough for the guys now, but our system is failing. The cameras are failing, the redaction system's failing, and they don't, if they're 5 years old, they don't service them. With Axon, we can get 30 Axon body-worn cameras, along with the digital evidence system, and has a redaction system built into it. Also, they offer to buy our old tasers from us. It also comes with 15 tasers, brand new tasers. They're going to give us an extra 15 holsters, so everybody has their own holster. They don't have to switch out holsters all the time. And they're going to give us, for our tasers that we have now, the old ones, they're going to give us $3,700 and $3,750 for them. They're going to also give us an updated redaction system, which we use every single day. And the system we have now, it takes, to do a 3-hour video, it took Ed about 6 hours, and Roger had to do one for Channel 4, and it took like 8 hours. It still wasn't, we can't cut sound out, there's certain things we can't cut out. Channel 4 agreed to come out and look at it, and they're satisfied. It could have cost us a lawsuit, could have protected us. But they're willing to, they want to give us an upgraded redaction system added to it, which would save us $19,500 over a 5-year period. They'll give that to us free. And what the cost of that system is $60,691 a year for 5 years. But I'm telling you, I don't ask for anything other than what we need. The videos save us lawsuits, and our system is failing. And we get.
When you say failing, what does that mean?
The cameras, they're not, sometimes they don't download right. The redaction system doesn't work. You gotta go frame by frame. So if Roger or Ed or one of the supervisors sit down and make a video for a sunshine request, for a 2-hour video, I think that one video was like 2.5 hours.
No, it was 48 minutes.
48 minutes.
And there was 4 different body cameras that was requested. So we had our detective lieutenant and we had a patrol lieutenant, both working between, each were doing 2 different body cameras, and it took Detective Taylor 10 hours to do that. And it took Lieutenant Stryker probably, it was right about 8 hours on his end. And basically the problem with the system is that it doesn't have the AI technology for it to be able to, for you to click on an image that needs to be redacted, that needs to be blurted out. You can't just click on that image and then it track it the whole way through. as the image moves frame by frame, depending on how many different things is there, you have to click, freeze frame, click, freeze frame, click, freeze frame, over and over and over again. And then the worst part of the system too is that we might be able to redact images, we might be able to redact license plates, facial images, but anything that is being broadcast over the radio, we do not have the technology to be able to blurt that out. So, sunshine request, trying to keep people's privacy in order, that was the thing that Channel 4, thankfully, they were nice enough to come out and watch the video themselves and then say, yep, this is completely frivolous, you guys are good, we don't need anything else out of that. And the biggest problem is they spent so much time on that, and there was nothing that we could do with the video. There was another request that had came out that went to Channel 4, and we had done hours of redaction on that, and that was a very short clip that they used. But then they also did their own redaction from whatever they had on top of what we did that we provided them. The system it's outdated. It's not current. The company, they exist, but they are just a security-based company versus being a law enforcement-based company. The two big options, if we have any options, the only options that we have for the tasers and for the body cameras together is Axon. They're the only distributor, they're the only ones, and it's always the cloud storage is what costs so much money because of the evidence technology to be able to do the redaction and to be able to store it long term. Because we have to be able to store this stuff indefinitely in order for us to keep our tracking and to keep our record keeping. With the current system that we have, it's all stored here. If the building burns down and we lose that, then that's going to be a problem. If 10 years from now somebody wants a copy of something, we're going to have to pull out an old hard drive after we fill up storage space and then replace it with a new one. We're going to have to find the right one, locate the request, basically.
Isn't there a statute of limitations on any of that?
There is statutes of limitations on that stuff over time, but it just, you never know what's going to happen. You never know depending on what the case is. If it's a murder case, if it's a serious assault first case, we're going to be holding on to it for a long time. Just kind of to, I guess, help out with that a little bit more is just the fact that when our officers go out and they start their body camera, they take it. Instead of being able to, at the end of that call, if it's something that has to be, well, for accreditation purposes, most agencies are requiring every single time that the body camera is turned on for it to be recorded and kept. Instead of just, if I go to your house for a report and I turn it on for that, and then guess under that report I would say that body camera, it would be just if I get a call for a peace disturbance or a 911 hang up and I show up and I get out of my car and I turn on the body camera for accreditation purposes, even that stuff needs to be saved. So, when an officer gets done with a call, if it's something that they have to keep, currently right now what they have to do is they have to go back to the office, they have to dock the camera, they have to get into the Axis system, they have to turn the video on, they have to flag the video for the duration of the video, and they have to create a folder, put the case number in it, and then that's how they can further access it. And press a button, remember to press a button that says prevent deletion. If they don't do that, after 90 days it purges out of the system and it deletes. With Axon, the way that it works is that they don't have to dock it. They get done with the call. All they have to do is just input a case number to it and it automatically uploads. They don't have to go back to the station to get on the computer to do anything to research it or any of that. And then at the same time, with that, if your house has security footage, we can give you a link and you can copy your video, attach it to that link, it goes up to the cloud, and instead of us having to burn CDs or put videos on USBs like we have to do now to give to the prosecutor's office or to anybody who wants to have a sunshine request, with Axon, you can just simply give that link to the prosecutor's office to where they don't have to hassle with us. They can just simply click on that link, find the case number, click on it, and have access to any and all video. And then the redaction is ridiculously easy compared. I was speaking with Wentzville PD's redaction person there, and they said, yeah, the system that you got going on is prehistoric. What I do is I just simply turn the video on, I see something that needs to be redacted, it's one click, and it keeps it blurted out the entire duration of the video. So instead of hours and hours of trying to track that, they just simply do a couple clicks wherever things need to be done, and then it's over with.
What's the dollar amount?
It's,
that you're requesting?
per year, it's $60,691.44. What it also does, all the, if public private officers go onto a call and something's going on, it's all recording, and they can all be interlinked together.
To where each guy doesn't have to go into the computer and click save and don't delete. It automatically does that itself.
And now, sometimes they gotta come back and make an extra copy and put it on a drive, put it on a CD, log it into evidence, gotta go in the evidence room. A lot of that stuff will disappear. It doesn't have to happen anymore. So it saves time all the way around, but the main thing is it protects our city. And there's been, over the years, we've had several times it could have caused us a lawsuit, but we had video.
Could that be considered a one-time purchase?
Well, it's a 5-year contract. So it'd be $60,691.44 the next 5 years. Per year for 5 years. You know, about $300,000 expenditure.
But one lawsuit could cost us that. I know it's a lot of money, but it's out there to protect the city, the officers, and the public.
And it has done so a few times already.
This is gonna free up a whole lot of man hours.
A lot of man.
Other stuff.
And it's done by the Bureau, and those guys are busy as it is. Frees up a lot of hours.
All the old stuff that's saved, are they gonna move that to the cloud?
The stuff we already have now, no, it'll stay every year.
Stays.
We use it as it has to be.
Yeah, basically we'll just have to keep those, they call them terabyte systems.
Right.
We'll have to just hold on to it.
That we have now.
So what happens after 5 years? Is that the life expectancy of the process, or?
None of these cameras have, really 5 years.
Yeah, they said that the cameras are covered in that 5-year contract, that if one goes down, if one gets broken, it gets replaced for free. The ones that we have now, 3 years old, and we've got, I just went up there just to look at it, we've got 5 of them that are on the chargers up there right now that are constantly flashing yellow, meaning that they're not charging. So no matter what system we have, if we end up having to keep this system that we have, we're going to have to replace those cameras because they're not functioning. They're not functioning, they're not storing properly. And that unfortunately is going to be a cost of itself. With technology and the way that things improve, at least we know that we're covered for this 5-year period. And the only reason why I say that is because we've had our X2 tasers. We transitioned from the X26 taser several years ago, and the reason why we transitioned from the X26 taser is because they told us at that point in time we're no longer warranting them. They're not covered. They're old, dead technology is what they told us. and that's when they came out with the X2 taser and the Taser 7. Now they're telling us that the X2 tasers are out of date, that they are no longer going to be in warranty. Currently, right now, they are still, they're still ordering parts to be fixed. If something breaks, that they will fix it, but it's not warranted. And they said in a short amount of time, that's not going to be just like what the X26 was. That's not going to be an option as well. So now, all agencies are forced to be in this process of transitioning from the X26 or the X2 taser to either the Taser 7 or the Taser 10. And they're currently already telling us that they're in the process of developing another taser. So.
And that's why they're offering to give us $250 for each taser that we have now, the old ones that are dead technology. And then they're also, that's why they're throwing in that they're giving us, it has a redaction system built in, but they're giving us an updated redaction system that makes it even faster, easier, and more reliable. And that's $19,500 over a 5-year period that is going in for.
I can definitely say that the improvements in technology is nice. With the X2 tasers that we have, doing all the tracking and trending for our response to resistance, use of force stats over the past several years. Traditionally, we've had a 67% fail rate with taser applications, depending on if a taser probe, if one probe makes contact and the other one doesn't, if it misses, that could be a reason why it doesn't work. Or if an officer tries to apply a drive stun to somebody, then you're just simply pain compliance instead of neuromuscular incapacitation. So there's a lot of variables that come with that. The thickness of clothing, all of that kind of stuff comes into play. But one of the advantages with the newer technology of the Taser 7 is that the officer can independently adjust the spread of the taser, because what the optimal idea to get a good neuromuscular incapacitation on somebody is, you call it split the hemisphere. So you want to split the belt line, that way you have an upper body, preferably a back shot, and a lower body, leg, buttocks, something like that. The bigger the spread that you have, the more neuromuscular incapacitation you're going to have, which means more success. A lot of times when guys are up close and personal and they have to tase somebody, Taser has since said if you're in a position where you think you're going to drive stun somebody, you need to just step back and just tase them, because you get more of a spread instead of just trying to do a simple pain compliance. Two little electrodes attaching onto, pushing it onto somebody, getting electric current going in that small area versus a wider area. So with the Taser 7, I can be this close and I can just simply do a flip of the taser, and it goes from being up close and personal to it spreads the probe deployment. And it actually, and like the X2s that we have, it has a stationary point of aim, point of impact laser beam that shoots straight out, and then the secondary one showing the second taser impact point. Because the further back you get, the further the spread goes, but it's a secondary red laser that blinks. That way when an officer is stepping back, he can kind of get a visual to see where it's going, and then he can fire the weapon. With the Taser 7, you can see that the lights are very close together. You can flip it, and it spreads the shot apart. Yep, that's a good. I can split the hemisphere and engage the taser. The Taser 10, very brand new technology. Some agencies are going with it, some agencies are not going with it, and the reason why is because it's a press of the trigger for every single probe deployment. Instead of shooting 2 probes at a time, every time you press the trigger, it's one probe that goes out. So the kind of the theory behind that is that kind of like firearms training, firing a double tap, and basically shooting one probe and then changing your point of aim and then shooting another probe. St. Charles County has went to the Taser 10s, but they kind of have mixed reviews about the Taser 10 because they have cases where there's been multiple Taser probe deployments on one individual, meaning like there's an individual that might have 5 or 6 individual Taser probes in their body because of multiple officers shoot, and then stopping. So then that could possibly raise use of force concerns because through the DOJ, what's considered to be a serious use of force incident is more than 2 Taser applications or more than 15 continuous seconds, no matter if it's 2 officers firing a Taser or if it's just one. And a serious use of force doesn't mean that that's excessive. It just means that now that needs to definitely have an internal investigation to make sure that all the protocol and everything was followed the right way. But it definitely ups it. Like with our department, we have a supervisory response to resistance investigation that happens at the regular patrol level, and then it goes to the lieutenant, and then it goes to myself in order for all of us as supervisors to make sure that that response to resistance was in order and in the right way, as long as it's not a serious use of force. If it's a serious use of force, then automatically the detective lieutenant gets contacted to do a formal investigation on the incident to make sure that it's good. And again, more than 2 Taser applications or more than 15 seconds of a Taser application, that constitutes a serious use of force.
Okay, item 5. We've got a lot of technical information there.
Right,
Got to make a
plus
decision
it's more
about
than 43, so
$60,000.
63,036.
Is there a consensus to leave it in? Anybody object to leaving it in?
Item 5,
Item 5. Or you want to skip over it, come back to it, that's fine too.
I'm looking for,
Where is it?
So we moved item 5 to $60,691.44. It's a 5-year deal, and we'll have any problem with it. Item 6, $6,600, general fund.
The Blue Line AI system, all reports, probable cause statements, search warrants, videos, again, videos of the drill has to dictate. You can put it through the system, and it cuts it down tremendously time-wise. Some 2-hour video can take 6 to 8 hours sometimes. These guys sit down at a computer and type up what it, and transcribe it. With the AI system, they run it through that system, and it takes it just in what? 7, 8 minutes, and knocks it out. It's 98% accurate, and they just go through it and do the changes that need to be made. It's a big time saver. But most of all, it's a growing situation. That's one reason we were able to pull out the LexiPoll on all the policy stuff. This AI system they have is going to be almost doing the same thing that we were going to LexiPoll to do. Keeping track of policies, coming up with policies. They use the Missouri Police Chiefs Association policies, the International Police Chiefs Association, and CALIA, all combined, keep track of policies for us.
And the other thing that it'll do with that too is that, which I mean, for the price, I'm telling you, it would be an absolute steal for what they're offering, because it just went live today. This upgrade that he's talking about with the policy management side of it. It's also going to allow us to be able to prove and track and trend that an officer opened the policy and reviewed it. That way we're not just falling into the trap of, yeah, we have all these policies. Okay, well then where's your proof that your officers have reviewed the material and that they understand the material? And that's something that this system is working to counteract, to be able to show proof that guys are actually getting assigned these and actually reviewing them. So that'll be a big benefit. that'll be a big addition to get us to that accreditation on just the policy side of it.
What's the cost on support? Is there a yearly support?
I'm sorry?
Maintenance or support? Just a one-time thing or?
So one time, it's $6,600 the first year. Every year after that, it's, I think, like $7,200 at the following year.
So you're committing to a long-term additional cost?
Well, the following year, yes.
7,200?
Yes, 70, I think it's 7,200. One thing it does too, I know, one of the St. Charles City officers was writing a report, and then during halfway through the report, it popped up on the screen that, hey, this may be an illegal search warrant, check your stats. So he checked it and forgot to put in that it had the address, I logged it, and then put it into the search warrant. And then, so the AI system caught that in his report to make that correction in his report. It's an amazing tool, but it's a big time saver. And it's a growing trend. It's an amazing tool.
And
We're committing multiple years.
Yeah. 7,200.
We're committing to a multiple year.
We have a contract for Brian to look at. I think it's, I don't know the actual on the year on that one. I have to check it with Brian look at it, but I don't think it's, I think it's just a couple years contract. But I can check.
Why don't we put that on hold? Until we get the details.
We're going to see Brian tomorrow about the contract, Brian.
Okay.
And then I'll bring this over, I'll discuss it with Brian. We have a meeting with him at 9 a.m.
Okay.
About how many man hours you think that thing's gonna save you?
Oh my gosh. How do you say? I mean, they could say, depending on how many videos they're doing. Are you talking about Discord, the AI? Oh my gosh. They could probably say, well, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 hours a week more. I mean, even more than that. I mean, it cuts down on a lot of time on doing the reports.
A lot of times on the transcription side of it, a lot of times the detectives, because you're talking about your sexual assaults, you're talking about your robbery investigations, and when there's interviews that's attached to that, depending on how many people are interviewed, that's the transcription that he's referencing. And a lot of times the detectives are trying to do the transcription, but then they're also giving part of that work to one of the clerks. The problem with that is that one of those clerks is only a part-time employee, is only here 2 days out of the week. So a lot of the majority of it used to be full-time, but she's part-time now. A lot of that weight is put back onto the detectives to go through and type out. And this system, when it pumps the information out, it literally, instead of just whoever is dictating the system, saying at this time this person said this, and then type it word for word for word, the system itself says at this time, at this second, at this millisecond, this subject said this. This time, this second, this millisecond, this subject said this, and it breaks it all down and puts it into a graph format versus just being typed out in a bulleted fashion. So it's a lot easier to read. It's very easy to understand, and like he said, in a very short period of time, it pumps the information out. All you have to do is download the video, and then it pushes it all out.
So basically, the cost of this versus man hours.
You're going to save a lot of money. You're going to save a lot of money because I can tell you too, just if you look at my salary, I spent a good dedicated 2 months just in trying to reformat our current policies to accreditation standards. And those 2 months was me trying to spend the time just reformatting, and then also trying to keep up with the use of force steps, trying to keep up with the day-to-day operations and all of that. So now you're talking about multitasking, and hopefully quality of work doesn't go down, because that's what happens with a lot of these guys when they get taxed out and have to do multiple things. But with this, on the policy side of it, it has everything all laid out, and it has what the regional areas are using. The current policies that we have are nowhere near what any accreditation agency has. I'm talking the difference between like us having our own 46 individual policies versus other agencies that are accredited have over 150 policies.
The sheriff's department's using this, St. Charles City's using this system, I believe, Lincoln County's using this system, I think Winfield. The prosecutor's office is on board with it, because everything, you know, everything goes through his office, a lot of these reports, and he's really on board with it also.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's very important that anytime we enter into a multi-year contract, that it be separated from this kind of a list, so we know what's going on for next year. If it's a multi-year contract, it needs to be shown, whatever that is, 5 years, what that obligation is going forward. In this case, it's going to general fund. We're already at a deficit. We need to know where we are 3, 5 years out. And then, of course, you have the replacement situation after that term.
You might get a little more information on that one.
Well,
If you're going to approve the expense, I think it's important that it be noted that it's a multi-year contract and the dollar amount associated per year with that. It's a budget process. Budget process isn't a 1-year, 12-month deal. Budget process is a multi-year deal. And in this case, if it's
So there's a contract associated with this, they're gonna work out the details, we'll get that information.
I did that for you in the morning too. I was called Lane because I know that it's negotiable, every year everything's negotiable on this contract. I know that part is for a fact. And that any party can choose to pull out with a proper notice. So, but I'll get it all done tomorrow. I know that's what's in there.
Well, the Board of Aldermen changes periodically, and I think that's an important issue that they should have in front of them. We've committed to this contract. Here it is.
Yeah, it's actually on the expenditure reports that I do for Linda on the justification of what we're asking for, why we need it. It's on there. It's on there. Like, for the Lexi poll, it was like, it was gonna cost us another, almost $12.50 a year just every year after that. But we're pulling that one out. So it's on that capital expenditure.
Okay, and I
That's why I brought it up last.
But in the budget process, I think that should be part of this.
Yeah, we'll get on the link to the contract and the cost per year for you.
Right.
well, I think we need a 5-year plan anyway. Period.
All right, so number 6 is on hold. So we're ready for number 7. That's gonna come out of the sewer fund. Anybody got a problem with that particular? I did talk to Don Hall here with Woodard and Kern along with Jared. Didn't get a cost for consideration. We talked about engineering of the new sewer line. We also talked about cleaning the line that's there now, that's taking all that grease that runs along Bluffview in that low-lying area. And have to build a road to it, bypass all. So they got an estimate of about $300,000. So we just got that information today, that's why it's not on here, but that's something we'll have. We'll put for, you can start thinking about whether it's something you want to entertain or not. We'll have more information and have something in writing next time we get together. We talked just before the meeting, so. I just want to fill it in before I forgot. Number 8, tractor for disking sludge. We did talk about that.
Yes, so I did some research on it this week, but I mean, this was for a brand new tractor. Of course, you start shopping around like you do anything else. You can find 100-horse used tractors for about half this price. Then we thought, well, maybe we can take $30,000 and try to find knives for the back of the other Terragator. Then you wouldn't have to disc sludge. Our only thoughts were you paid for the knives, put it on the other Terragator. We thought with a tractor you'd have a multi-use, you know, if you wanted to use it on whatever, around the plant road, whatever you do, fixing creek crossings. That was our only thoughts with the tractor. We had it at $60,000. That was for a brand new, like 70-horse tractor. Like I said, I've been shopping around. You can find good used 100-horse tractors for half this. So if you want to cut that to 30, that's fine by me. Or whatever you want to do, you cut the whole thing, don't matter to me,
You might
but
have
we're gonna make it
thoughts on
work.
that. That's gonna be the sewer fund.
Well, it's sewer fund, which is fine, but
And we will not,
we don't need a new tractor by any means.
no. No, it's just a budget number when we started for a brand new, but like I said, we can get within half of this at least for 100%.
Drop it to 30,000.
You all okay with that?
Yep.
All right. That number's been reduced to 30. Number 9, zero turn, large zero turn, 45,000. That come out of general. Anybody want to talk about that?
Can it come out of number 2 fund? Out of that one-time expense, because obviously I'm not going to budget again.
It could. Anybody have an issue with that?
What type are you looking at?
I mean, I have to bid it out, so.
Yeah,
The one I,
say large decking, talking bigger than 72 or
9 foot.
9 foot.
The one I did was a X-Mark, but,
That's
well, they go up, you're right. But yeah, we try to trade in the other equipment, tractors that we just got back today, knock on wood, it ran today, I don't know how long it's gonna last, and when it goes down, it kind of puts us in a tight spot, so.
All your commercial motors, they try to trade them out right around 800 hours, because that's when everything starts going.
Yeah.
Mine's in the shop right now, 500 hours on it at 3 weeks. Yeah.
So you want to take that to the
Number
reserve
2
fund?
fund.
Anybody have a problem with that?
No.
All right, so we're going to move that to reserve. We have, I'm getting at 90,000 on that. So I got 91,000 in there so far. Okay, 2-post lift, that was discussed. Did we reach a consensus on that?
We're going to split it between.
Okay, so that one, if you want to split between
Two
streets,
departments.
water, sewer, and general. Anybody have that?
Streets,
water, sewer?
Streets, water, sewerage.
Yeah, so we're gonna make that a 4-way split.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 12, rotary flex mower. That's streets. Anybody got a question on that one? Number 13, line laser striper, streets. Number 14, sewer push camera, sewer. Any issues there? Number 15, sewer plant, tires for the Terragator. Any issues there? Number 16, Oxy power washer, sewer plant. Number 17, scan tool, maintenance facility, that's general fund.
17 and 18 are getting split.
Number 2.
17 and 18 are split 4 ways.
Okay, I got one person saying to pull it out of reserve and 2 people saying split that. Which, do you all want to discuss which way you want to go with that? Either option is available. You can make a one-time purchase out of the reserve fund, or you can split it.
Only do the reserve fund.
Do reserve.
Yeah.
Anybody have a problem with pulling that out of the reserve? Okay, that goes to general reserve. 18, I know that was talked about earlier. We pulled it out, is this, everyone?
No, it's not scratched.
It wasn't.
Well, we talked about, yeah,
We
so how do you
talked
want to
about
handle that one?
I thought we put that in reserve.
I thought we just did 17 and 18 together, right?
Yeah, I thought we did, yeah.
It's all reserved.
So 17 and 18 are both general fund reserve. 19, gate opener, sewer plant, 30,000. Any questions?
Down here on 47,
No, this will be down at, both, I'm
Both.
sorry.
Yeah,
because the gate out there, 47 is always open.
yeah.
You good on that? Number 20, remote gate opener for the maintenance facility, that's general fund, $12,000.
We could split that, can we not? Maintenance facility?
Y'all can,
There's 103,340 that's coming out of the number 2 currently. So can't the 12,000 just come out of the general reserve also?
yeah, we still got money.
I have a problem with moving that to reserve. Me, reserve. 21. This
I
is
say
the
just cut that.
cut 21.
Why?
I mean,
It was just a wish, it's no big deal.
That needs to be done with.
It's functioning, it's just kind of gross, but
let's not cut it.
I mean, we could
It's
use
1,400, we could use the reserve
I
funds.
don't know if that'll get it.
Well, I mean, how much money you got left in reserve? Are you doing the math? Right?
I got.
Because there's 115,000, is what I'm at. Is that right?
There's about 51,000, I think she said left, right?
That's what I got. I'm doing it wrong.
I mean, can you come
I
back
can't-
at us with a number for sure on those, on the bathrooms? No, you
We
said-
looked at fixtures, paint, I mean, the sink and the faucet, you know, a couple of things like that, those and some paint, it was pretty, just basic, a paper towel dispenser, things like that.
I don't want to cut it.
We can do upstairs
Yeah, I
also.
don't either.
I think we can get in at that $1,400-$1,500 number. I mean, we'll just go to that point.
Yeah, I mean,
Stop.
yeah, let's don't cut it. We're going to go to the restroom in a nasty old restroom.
All right.
It's fine.
So put that in general reserve.
So how do we get upstairs on it then also? Because their bathrooms are just as gross as, I mean,
Well, I got a number here for the toilets,
So 21 is reserve, right?
Yes, sir.
yes. I think it's like $1,350 or so for 5 toilets and 2 sinks that have cabinets with them. I think it's about, right, that's just for the parts themselves. That's not, that's for the 5 toilets, the 2 sinks, and the vanity, but I haven't, and we'll need some of the hoses, you know, hook it up. I think I talked to Jeff about that his guys could probably install the sinks.
so we need to double that and then it would take care of downstairs and upstairs. Correct?
Yeah, we never got any numbers for upstairs, so I didn't know what they were.
$1,334.
$1,300?
$1,334. And I mean, that take care of the 5 toilets, bring them up to adult size, and 2 sinks.
Okay, and that's just
Seriously,
material. Material only,
Preschool.
right?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
1,334.
So that could come from reserves also, and if you round up to 1,400. And Linda, I'm at 116,740, but I don't know if that's correct.
Oh, I've only got 51,000 left.
Oh, no, that was my total.
Oh, you're adding to it, okay,
I
sorry.
was adding, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so
I have 38,000 left.
you want to add in 13,034. All right, so you're going to approve 1,400 for the downstairs and 1,400 for upstairs
Yes.
out of general fund reserve. Okay. Anybody got an issue with those 2 items? Okay. We talked about the siren upgrade. I don't remember if we made a decision on that.
I think it's a necessity. I think the 14 and the 11 may be, once Linda gets done adding, I think that's probably in the general reserve. If I didn't do it wrong.
That's a necessity. Whether it
Said it, yeah.
more.
All right, so let's go with item 22. There's still money enough to cover that in there.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to go to the reserve fund. Now, the annual maintenance, it's not really a one-time cost. That's something you're.
It's a necessity.
That's every year times our, how many years,
We've
whatever.
never had it before, but with the cost of the replacement parts of new technology,
It needs
it's
It only makes sense.
expensive.
If you had to replace one, it's gonna be more than,
So that's what we ran into last year. We had to go down and it cost upwards around $7,000
it makes sense.
to fix it.
How are we doing on money in reserve fund?
35?
I think
So 35.
Okay.
Doesn't sound right.
I was at 36 and minus the 14 would be around then.
So you want to use, you'd like to use the reserve fund for the annual maintenance? You might have an issue with that, if there's money enough in there.
Are those picnic tables, are those for Kiwanis Park?
So we should have.
Brian?
They're for where we're just gonna pull some
You get that covered, Lynn?
The plastic ones, are they wood?
They'll probably be metal powder coated.
Okay.
How many years is it?
I think they're about $1,000 a piece, so if I buy 8, 7, or 8, see what I can get. Start with the worst ones and work my way through.
I painted them years ago.
Picnic table.
We've done a few of them too.
Linda, there's still 8,000 in the general reserve, correct?
That's what I'm trying to get down.
I'm adding correctly.
It's, this is not my favorite way to do it.
I know. I'm coming up with like 12,000 left, but
I got 2,300 left, but I'm not gonna miss something.
yeah, the 46,
I mean, 23,000.
Oh, I stopped doing it a while ago.
the 46,000.
I have 22. All right, so we're right somewhere around 22 still.
Going once? We're 22.
Picnic tables go to the reserve.
Yep.
I'm only,
Ron, if I may, for just a second.
I'm sorry.
I called the developer, the AI blue line is Lane, and most cities are doing a 3 to 5 year contract. They said, we don't have you guys set up for a contract, it's year to year. So next year will be a negotiable price. And we go over next year, or we don't have to go over next year.
But you need to have some idea what it would be.
Yeah, if we go over next year, it would be
7,200.
70, actually I've got the, it'd be 78.50 if we went with them next year, but that's negotiable.
so you try it for a year, if you don't like it, then we don't go back into contract with it.
But then what do you do after, but then what do you do?
You just have the system and you don't use it.
Yeah, we
It's just
don't use it
software.
anymore.
You're paying for the software.
Yeah, you're not paying for it.
It's all
Software
web-based.
license.
Okay.
I just cut you off.
So then technically it is a one-time expense that could come out of the
Right.
general reserve also.
Yeah.
I would propose that,
The
6,600
That's number 6.
out of number
So you got
2.
money in there, I guess?
Yep.
I come up with 12,000 in there.
After this, or before?
No, prior.
Let's,
Let's recap everything.
we need to recap on the,
Yeah, we'll go through them again here in a minute. Yes, they put 23 in general fund reserve and 24 in general fund reserve.
So all three of them, this one.
Yes, all three of those. So
Linda, does it help if we tell you the numbers?
21,
Oh,
number 21 was actually 2,800. They went to that reserve.
right, that's what I did.
Okay, good. All right. So it brings us to the streets, water. Anybody got any real issues with this capital project?
Are we? Okay, number 6 from the general reserve.
So you can take that, if you're okay with that street map, you can subtract that from this number that's on your spreadsheet here, and have an idea of the balance. Same with water and sewer. Sewer subtotal right now is 789,000. That gets you down to about,
August, I was still trying to figure out something else, make sure talking what you
Yeah.
we passed a whole bunch of stuff while you were.
You know, I don't have a sense of humor.
I know you don't. That's why I keep moving. So all I did was have, they're looking over this sheet now, and if they have any issues or questions about it, they can bring it up. I just talk about.
Can I go?
Well, I remember that capital improvements, after all of our obligations, there's 3.5 million there, so some of it may be spread through that as well.
I did want to talk
And we could
about,
do that, I mean, we could do that in-house.
They were so
I'm
added.
trying to fix it out.
yeah. So we did plan on grit. We've got $2 million that we dedicated to grit on about a $5 million project. So over the next 2 years, we'll have to look at capital improvements for those dollars.
And then
Oh, you got all 5 minutes? Okay,
Well,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
just, the estimated cost, I'm sure is going to be higher than what.
Or maybe a lot less. Whatever.
And it's also going to take more than a year.
But you've already got it accounted for out of that. I'm sorry.
I think that's why I thought, he's still,
Is up for grabs.
Okay.
but it still doesn't help our.
Well, yeah, I mean, that, yeah, this number didn't get any higher. Well, it did. No,
Yeah, I got something.
it got a little. Did you have a question on the property tax while you're here? Just
Well, is this the Senate, the property tax rollback that the government, the state Missouri passed?
No.
No, this is different.
This was a city rollback that was offered when the capital improvements tax was voted on. The city voluntarily rolled back property tax in exchange essentially for this
Okay.
new sales tax.
How long ago was that?
About 2010 or 11, I think 2011 is when they voted on it, I believe.
Sounds right. We moved in here 2010.
And that's, you know, when the pool, capital improvements tax paid for the pool, streets, sewer, that was what it was earmarked for. So if y'all want to discuss how you want to proceed with that.
If we don't do any rollback, we reduce our deficit.
Yes, yeah. Depending on which option you choose here, it'll affect the deficit by that many dollars.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You know, it's a tax increase that you all have to vote on publicly. So you got to make a decision sometime soon and give Linda some guidance on it.
It's not a tax increase.
Okay, it's not a tax increase. But if you vote to roll, to take it back, their taxes will go up. The amount of taxes they pay will be higher
Yes.
than what they are currently.
Yes.
Explain it differently. I
No,
understand what
I'm
you're
just, it's a levy, the levy's currently in place. We just are giving everybody a discount.
saying. Okay.
So the discount goes away. It's not a tax increase.
So let's go back to the original change that we made with the public and give me that information.
What was proposed at the
Yes.
time? Well, okay, I'd like to go back and look at the exact language. It was essentially, we'll do this in lieu of this.
We will build a swimming pool and do some street projects and some infrastructure, some sewer infrastructure projects to, and you have to pass this and then we'll give you all that on your taxes.
We need to,
There's nothing about it that says it's correct.
I want to be certain that we're fulfilling our obligation in that regard. And now that, how do we now able to change it according to that part?
Well, no one said this is a forever thing, but we also didn't say this is a limited time thing. You know, we didn't say, give us this now, and we'll look at it. So, you know, so it's a decision every 2 years it comes to the board. You'll have to.
When it was
look at-
presented to the people, it was presented as a tax rollback with no sunset clause.
Well, that's it. That's exactly what I said. There was no
Exactly, it
promise
has
of
no sunset
taking it
clause.
back, and there was no promise of keeping
And
it
the
forever.
people agreed to pass that increase in exchange for the
We'll have a
rollback.
public hearing on it, and then it'll be open for public comment. This is for the board to talk about, so. But at this point, some direction for budget purposes would be helpful.
It could be real helpful, but you have options here. And so then should we also be able to disclose to the public what that means on their tax bill?
Like I said, there'll be a public hearing prior to a vote on how you handle it, so all those things can be.
Well, if I were in the audience
I'd want all the
and you
information prior.
choose number 3, $282,000, what does that do to my tax bill?
Oh, you want me to tell you?
Well, yes, Linda. You're so-
I mean, I'd have to do the math.
Well, and that's fine,
Yeah.
but I think that should be part of,
Okay.
I mean,
or at least have it available.
it was very well attended the last time we talked about it. We had a resolution prepared and everything, and people came and spoke, and they were not happy.
So each of these options, well, doesn't look like the first one does anything.
Well, you want the first one as far as general funds concerned.
So is it
That's the
5
most-
cents, 10 cents, and 15 cents? Is that?
That's how I got it written here. No sense.
Each one would be
The taxpayer.
that against per $100 of assessed valuation, is that right? So if you have the assessed valuation of your property, if it's the first one, it would be 5 cents additional per $100 of assessed valuation, 10 cents or 15 cents. So you could calculate
Oh,
exactly
okay. Fine.
what it would be based on your assessed valuation of your property.
15 cents, 100?
Yes.
Is that just real property or personal property tax?
Both.
Personal property.
It's, yeah.
So if you're assessed.
I don't think we're gonna get a conclusion tonight on this thing.
Well, that's okay. Definitely some thought needs to go into it, so I don't know of anything that's contentious now. If there's something we need, on the 17th for a vote, we need to, hear about it. Linda, do you want to, what are you thinking on another?
I think we need to have another meeting for you guys to look at everything once it's plugged in.
Before the board.
Yeah, there'll be a board meeting, and then there'll be a meeting for this, to pass this budget, probably
I don't know what
towards
the
the end of the
17th
month,
is looking
28,
like.
27, someplace in there. Sorry.
Because the 17th would be a good time to do both.
I don't see why, I suppose we could have a workshop prior on the 17th. Does that work for everybody?
It's our board.
What month?
That's what she's saying, come
This one,
forward.
right, prior to the board meeting.
2 weeks.
So come at like 5:30 instead?
I mean, that's a thought.
If-
We don't have to.
We're all here.
I figure the 9:30 set aside.
Yeah.
17th.
Otherwise, we'll have to do something prior to, which puts it next week.
And it really, the only,
17th is good.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise we're all running around.
I'm off work.
So, tonight's board meeting?
If does anybody have a problem with doing it that night?
17th
Between 5:30.
at 5:30?
That works?
There's enough time.
Well, I think so. She'll plug these numbers in
Okay.
I think so.
that we talked about.
Because, I mean, that would be a lot of time to work on it, and we'll talk in-house, and what needs to be moved to capital improvements, and I'll have all of that laid out for you. So you know what we did, like, our time, change, and people running this, so you know what I'm doing.
Anybody have anything else? Sounds like we're on agreement. We'll be here at 5:30. If the question comes up, shoot us an email. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. We got a status update on the administrator. Baker Tilly sent you today, kind of gives you a snapshot of where they're at in the process.
All right.